Hey everyone, so today we're going to be continuing with our Beginner Tiki series and our 103 video, and today we're going to be talking all about juices and the 5 citrus that you need to start your tiki bar. Plus, we're going to be making a classic Don the Beachcomber cocktail from the 1960s, the Never Say Die. I'm Andy, this is Easy Tiki Drinks, let's do this. So welcome to episode 3 of our Beginner Tiki series. In the first 2 episodes, we went over the 5 rums that you need to start your bar, plus the 7 modifiers that you're gonna need to supplement those rums. Today, we're gonna be talking all about the base of every single cocktail in tiki, what it's made out of, the citrus, the juice. Now you might be asking yourself, Andy, why didn't we start with this if it's so important? And it is important. But I wanted to talk about some of the other things that you're gonna need to go purchase first. These are easier to acquire. Now, before you ask, Andy, should I squeeze fresh? Should I buy bottled? Should I super juice? And those are all valid questions, and honestly, it's all gonna come down to personal preference. However, my number 1 tip for anybody beginning their tiki journey and wanting to start their own home tiki bar is always fresh squeeze your juice first. This will allow you to understand and get a taste for what fresh squeezed juice tastes like. That way, if you're in a pinch and you want to go buy bottled, you know which bottles to buy because those are the ones that are going to taste the closest to fresh squeezed juice. And if you're asking yourself, well, Andy, what about super juice? Don't worry, that's a more advanced topic that we'll have coming down the road. All right, so let's talk about the 5 citrus that you need to start your home tiki bar. The first up is lime juice. Lime juice actually appears in just shy of 50% of all classic tiki cocktails. It's actually about 42-43%. Lime juice is what's gonna add the acidity or tartness to your cocktail. It's going to balance out the sweetness that we get from our syrups. Next up is orange juice. Orange juice appears in about 20% of all classic tiki cocktails. Now, a lot of people are polarized by orange juice. They feel like orange juice in a cocktail overpowers the cocktail. However, in tiki cocktails, when this is combined with things like lime juice and a cobra's fang, then we're gonna get a balance of sweetness provided by the orange juice as well as the tartness provided by the lime juice. Along with the syrups and the rums, it actually blends really, really nicely. Next up, we have pineapple juice. Pineapple juice appears in about 16% of classic tiki cocktails. And I mean, what's more tropical and exotic than pineapple juice? Now, yes, fresh squeezed pineapple juice is hard to come by, or difficult to make, if you will. And by the way, it's not that difficult, but it does take a little bit of time. So, if you don't want to fresh squeeze, and I put that in quotation marks because you can't squeeze a pineapple, you basically blend it and then strain out the pulp. If you don't want to go through that process, the industry standard in most bars is to use Dole 100% unsweetened pineapple juice, which is fine in a pinch. I will tell you, once you open a can, do not let it sit for more than a day because it does start to oxidize, even though it's from a can. Next up, we have the other tart element that we find in tiki cocktails, and that's lemon juice. Found in about 16% of classic tiki cocktails, this alongside lime is what provides the acidity and tartness for our cocktails. Typically, we're gonna see lemon juice in place of lime juice in cocktails that are based other than rum. Things like bourbon or rye, we're typically gonna see a lemon base. There are a couple other rum ones that do have a lemon base for their tartness, but they are less common. And last but not least, our final citrus, and that is grapefruit juice. It appears about 5% of classic tiki cocktails. Now, there's a big debate about grapefruit juice, right? Do I use white grapefruit juice? Do I use pink grapefruit juice? Do I use red grapefruit juice? Here's the deal. In the old days, Don and Vic used to always use white grapefruit juice. It is less sweet, it is more tart, and it is more bitter, which is what we're really looking for in grapefruit juice, is that bitter back note that it adds to cocktails, such as the Zombie, the Jet Pilot, and the Navy Grog. So, if you can get your hands on some white grapefruit juice, great. Fresh squeezed, better than anything else. There is a bottle by Ocean Spray. It's the unsweetened Ocean Spray pure white cranberry, white grapefruit juice. That is a decent substitute. If you get your hands on that, great. If you can't get your hands on any white grapefruit juice, go with pink. Do not go with red. Red is much, much sweeter than white. Pink is kind of a nice middle ground. You're still gonna get a little bit more sweetness than the white, but you're still gonna get that bitter back note, which is what we're really looking for. All right, now that we've gone over our 5 citrus that we need for any starting tiki bar, let's build a cocktail that's gonna utilize 4 of these 5 citrus. Today we're gonna be making the Never Say Die. So the Never Say Die is a classic Don the Beachcomber tiki cocktail from the 1960s. And no, the name is not based on the James Bond movie. It's actually based on a saying from the 1800s that was super popular during World War II. And I'm gonna try to repeat this verbatim. I might have to look at my phone. You know what, I'm just gonna pull up my phone. I don't have a teleprompter, so here we go. So the saying is, cheer up then and never say die. For a devil a morsel of good it will do. Yeah, that's about all I know about this cocktail. I did a little bit of research and that was pretty much all I could find. Now this is within the realm of Classic Dawn in the sense that the original has 9 ingredients. Now the version that I'm gonna be making today is a little different. That includes all of the same ingredients, but I reproportion it to make it a little bit more of a balanced cocktail, and I simplify it just a tiny bit, so it's a little bit easier for pickups behind the bar. Basically, this is the way I serve a Never Say Die at Wusong Road, the tiki bar that I work at. So let's build it, we'll sip on it, and yeah, that'll be pretty much about it for today's episode. All right, so grab your shaking tin, because that's what we're gonna do this in. In your shaking tin, add 2 dashes of Aromatic Bitters, 3/4 of an ounce or 22.5 milliliters of lime juice. Next up, 3/4 of an ounce or 22.5 milliliters of white grapefruit juice. Follow that up with 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of orange juice. Next up is 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of pineapple juice. Follow that up with 1/2 ounce or 15 milliliters of honey syrup. And finish that up with 2.5 ounces or 75 milliliters of moderately aged rum. Add some ice to your shaking tin. Give it a nice whip shake for about 5 to 8 seconds. Grab a large snifter, wine glass, or tiki mug and open pour in. Top with some more crushed ice. And garnish with a nice mint bouquet and a reusable straw. And then you have it, the Never Say Die as I serve it at Wusong Road. Let's give it a try. That is a juicy, well-balanced cocktail. It is tart, it is sweet, it is not super boozy, but boozy enough. You can tell there's rum in this cocktail. Speaking of which, let's talk about a couple of the variations that I made from the original version. First off, the original version really only calls for 1 dash of aromatic bitters. I actually used 2 dashes of aromatic bitters. And in this one, for my aromatic bitters, I'm using the Bittertruth company aromatic bitters. I really love how they play in this cocktail and work with the rum that I chose. Speaking of which, the original Never Say Die uses a blend of 3 different rums. It uses 1/2 ounce of light rum, 1/2 ounce of dark Jamaican rum, and 1 ounce of Barbados rum. Now, I used 1 rum in 1 bottle. And a lot of people are gonna say, well, Andy, it's not as complex. And I would beg to differ. Because you need to understand that back when Don and Vic were creating these cocktails, they didn't have multi-island blended rums. They just had rums from single islands and single distilleries. Nowadays, we have rums that are from multiple islands, such as the rum that I'm using for this cocktail, and that is the Tiki Lover's Dark Rum. The Tiki Lover's Dark Rum is actually a blend of Jamaican rum and Barbados rum, so it actually covers 2 of the main rums that are found within the original Never Say Die. Yes, I dropped out the light rum. Honestly, I don't think light rum adds a lot to a cocktail unless it's the base spirit and pretty much the only one in there. Other than that, it's just there for adding ABV, pretty much like what vodka does. So instead, I dropped that out and I upped the count of both the dark Jamaican rum and the Barbados rum together in the dark Tiki Lover's Dark Rum to create a more complex cocktail. I also changed the balance of the other citruses. So the lime juice is originally only 1/2 ounce, but I found that it made the cocktail too sweet. The grapefruit juice, also 1/2 ounce, but I wanted that extra bitter note, so I upped it to 3/4 ounce. The pineapple juice is only 1/4 ounce in the original cocktail. I felt like I didn't taste it at all and I wanted to taste it in this, so I upped it to 1/2 ounce. Paired with that orange juice, you get that tropical fruit flavor that I'm so craving in this cocktail. So those are the differences that I chose to make for my kind of rebalanced version of the Never Say Die. It's the same cocktail. It's the same exact ingredients. I didn't change anything. Right? I simplified the rums a little bit because we have the option to do that. And I rebalanced the citrus to make it a little bit more of a balanced cocktail for me. All right, well that's it for our beginner series tiki video on the 5 citrus that you need and showcasing a cocktail that uses 4 of the 5. That's pretty impressive. This is the Never Say Die as I serve it at Wusong Road. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, click that little notification bell, go over to Instagram and TikTok, follow me there at Easy Tiki Drinks. If you guys would like to support the channel in other ways, I did start a Patreon. The lowest tier is just basically like tipping me and saying thank you for all the hard work that you do. There are other tiers that provide additional content that I supply on a weekly or monthly basis that doesn't go out anywhere else. So if you guys are interested in that, I'll leave the link in the description below. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you next time. And until then, you know the deal. Take it easy.